Hello, Patriots. I'm Lee Watts, and this is Patriot Point, your source of news from a conservative Christian and common sense point of view. Well, this week we're talking about how crazy is coming back. That is right. New COVID craziness is definitely on its way back. They have some new variants, and there's been a lot of media buzz that is starting to spin up about this. We've had conservative members of Congress warning the lockdowns, the mandates, it is all on its way back. And isn't it really amazingly convenient that all of this is starting to spin up right as we are entering into the next presidential election?
What an unbelievable coincidence!
Yes, an unbelievable coincidence. Just so happens that we're going to have mandates and lockdowns right before the election again. And again, the media is buzzing about this. Let's look at some of the headlines. These are headlines from this month on PBS NewsHour. They said you should be wearing masks, certainly at home. Now, of course, these are the same crazy people, PBS, who said that climate anxiety is actually healthy and good for you. You also see on MSNBC, they have an article this month that says it's time to bring masks out again. The Los Angeles Times says COVID-19 is heating up all around this summer. Should we be wearing masks again? And they answer yes to that. CBS News talks about how face masks are available now and how to get them. Even Fox News on August the 22nd of this year said mask mandates are making a return. And of course, there's CNN, the Communist News Network. They've had these articles this month. New variant EG.5 is on the rise. That's one of the new names for the new COVID variant. Your recent cold could be COVID-19. The latest COVID-19 surge, over and over and over again. There is repeated hype and talking about, hey, COVID is coming back. It's all surging again. And there's talk about doing all of the mandates over again. Just this week in California, new mandates have been issued. They're talking about masking nationwide. Now, some people are happy that there's going to be mandates and lockdowns again. Joe Biden has released his COVID-19 National Preparedness Plan. And let me tell you about some of the crazy things they're preparing to do in here. First of all, they say if you just test positive, and by the way, the tests have been recalled because they say they will give you a false positive really easily. But they're saying if you even test positive, you should stay home 5 days from work. Don't go to work. And in fact, it goes on to say in this plan that if you're going to take care of somebody who's sick, you should get paid days to stay home and not work. So if your kid, your neighbor, your spouse, whoever, you're taking care of them, government should pay you to not work and stay home because of that. This is where we got a lot of the labor shortages that were caused 4 years ago, and we are still suffering under those labor shortages now. That's what's made the price of labor go through the roof. That's why you see there's shortages whenever you go to a store and you can't get somebody to help you. You go through a drive-through and it seems to take forever. People can't find help anymore. I saw a sign the other day for McDonald's was paying up to $21 an hour. This is to flip hamburgers. You know why? Because they can't get people to work. And part of the reasons why goes back to this. The government was saying, hey, stay home. We'll pay you not to work. This is the same thing that Andy Beshear did. He sent everybody home. And we have today, after 3.5 years of him ruling in Kentucky, there are less people working in Kentucky today than the day he started. Now, he's come out saying, oh, he's created all of these jobs. Telling everybody, to go home and they lose a bunch of their jobs is not creating jobs. And now we do have less people working today than worked when he started. And one of the things Andy Beshear did when he was doing the mandates and lockdowns, first thing he did was close churches. Remember, he put the state police like the Gestapo, and he put signs on people's cars. Now, these signs said, because you had violated Andy Beshear's decree, that you may be facing a $500 fine and a year in jail. Now, of course, the church fought against this, and the church won the battle in the courts. And the courts came out and said Andy Bashir never had this authority, and they were all allowed to open back up. But keep this in mind. If Andy Bashir would have won in court, he would have thrown Christians in jail for a year simply for going to church on Easter Sunday because they defied what he said. If that's the only thing that guy ever did, then every single Christian in the state should vote whoever is against that guy. Because remember, he kept the liquor stores open. He kept the abortion clinics open. He kept the horse race tracks open. At this point, all the stores in the state are open. He wouldn't close them for another week and a half. But he went after the churches and said, I'm going to throw you in jail if I get my way. So the new mandates and new lockdowns are on the way. Notice this quote from United States Senator Mike Lee from Utah. This is something he said on Monday of this week. The WHO, that's the World Health Organization, the WHO, CDC, and Biden administration are fear-mongering a new COVID variant. Sources in the Department of Homeland Security and Emergency Management are already preparing for lockdowns and restrictions. Look at today's headlines. It's a coordinated government and media campaign. So yes, we have here a prominent member of the United States Senate telling us the mandates, the lockdowns are coming back. And of course, they're bringing all this back. Why? Again, because the election season is coming up again. And you're going to find out that Joe Biden didn't actually win the election. There's no way that this guy got 81 million votes and is the most popular person in all of American history. You will never convince me or a sane American of that, which means if you believe that, I don't think you're sane. So Biden's going out there I don't know if he's lied to himself. He's definitely lying to the American people, saying that he's actually the president.
No, you're not.
Then you got Biden, Bashir, and the media pushing this idea that, hey, COVID's coming back, so we're going to need to reinstitute lockdowns and mandates. So what can you do about all of this stuff which is on its way here? First of all, churches, stay open. Remember, when they tried to close them down, we took Andy Bashir to court, and the court said Bashir never did have the authority to close the churches. So he does not have the authority, never did have. Small business owners, stay open. Remember, we had small businesses here, both in Lexington and up in northern Kentucky, that took Andy Bashir to court saying, you don't have the authority to close us down. And remember, they won in court. There was a coffee shop named Brood. There was a restaurant called Beans. They won. They stayed open. If we were to have the small businesses and the churches defy these mandates and stay open, we're going to find that the politicians don't have any power if the people do not comply. Remember what the Declaration of Independence says. It says that the just power of the government only comes from the consent of the governed. And let's not consent to another set of lockdowns and stuff like this. And so here's really what I think about the Biden-Bashir mandates and lockdowns.
You stink.
Yes, stinks to high heaven. But the COVID, the mandates, the lockdowns, they're going to be trying to push all these things again right before the election. And you are warned about it months ahead of time right here on Patriot Point. Well, some of the things we've been showing you this week, the funny little clips from this comedy movie called Elf. It's really funny. You should go out and watch that sometime. But speaking of comedy movies, I mentioned this the last week or so. I'm sick and tired of woke Hollywood. And I think it's about time that the Patriots of Kentucky push back against that. And here's how we're going to do that. I have rented out a theater in Lexington. It's the movie theater right by the mall on September the 9th. And I have been in contact with this wonderful comedy group that has made this family-friendly, wholesome comedy to push back against this woke agenda. I'm going to show you a clip from these people, what they do. It's really fun. If you would like to go to see the movie and join us at the theater, I've got a link in the description here where you can get the tickets, only $10 each. It's going to be on September the 9th at 5 o'clock in Lexington, Kentucky. So here's a little clip from the people who have made this, and I think you'll really enjoy it.
Carson, be careful with the hue of that red. You're restoring Egyptian papyrus, not an Andy Warhol print.
Greenberg, Carson, drop what you're doing. There's a fantastic... What have you done?
You said drop what you're doing.
I didn't mean to actually drop it.
Well, how were we supposed to know that?
Why would I want you to destroy 6,000-year-old artifacts?
Well, that's what I thought, but I assumed you had a good reason.
What in your mind would be a good enough reason for the vomit-worthy thing you've just done?
Did Zane get back together with One Direction?
No!
Hey, what's going on?
Mr. Jorgensen said to drop what we're doing.
This better be good. That belonged to Adam and Eve.
Then why did you smash them?
Guys, we just discovered a new species of dinosaur.
You told everyone to drop what they're doing.
So, what's the big news?
Okay. I'm going to pretend like I don't work with a bunch of idiots who take everything I say at face value. And I will tell you why I came in here.
May I ask a clarifying question?
Go ahead, shoot. No!
So that's the group of people who've made this movie we're going to be watching in Lexington. It's called Go West. It's clean comedy. Have your youth group come out. Bring your Patriot group out. Let's push back against woke Hollywood. You can get tickets in the link in the description. Well, that's what we have for you for this week. So until next week, I'm Lee Watts for Patriot Point, reminding you that liberty is not a spectator sport.